unit in charge for alumni affairs. And I welcome you to this virtual interactive session with our very senior alumni. These virtual interactions are being brought in from a team of very committed alumni. They call themselves Nifty Care. And we plan to schedule this every week, once on Saturday evenings. So today my role is to introduce you to the panelists here, the speakers, the mentors, and the speakers. So I will start with that. We have Professor Raghuram Jayaraman here. Sir is the head for Industrial and Alumni Affairs Unit at NIFT. Sir is a professor with the Department of Technology, and he's here to represent the students in conversation with the mentors. We also have Mr. Sanjay Shukla here. He's a team leader for Triberg, and he's a very senior alumni of ours, passing out in 1992 AMM batch.
Thank you, Ranjini. Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Gargi Deshwal. She's one of the mentors who have joined us today. Ms. Deshwal is from 2014 batch of FD, passing out from Shillong. And in this 6 years of her work, she has done immense work in her expertise being in fashion, sourcing, category management, business development. So she's currently working as a senior designer with New Times Private Limited and designing for Polo Ralph Lauren. And previously, she has also worked for Triberg, for Club Monaco, and Liverpool and Michael Kors. Her design for Club Monaco was once worn by the Duchess of Sussex. So welcome, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our other mentor today is Mr. Sandeep Ramudamu. And Mr. Sandeep is a 2001 FD pass out. So another senior alumni for you. He is presently heading design at Arvind Denim's denim division. And he's looking after design at both mill and garment division. He has 2 decades of experience in design, purely design, a lot of digital platforms, and he knows a lot about denims and casual wear. And in these 2 decades, he has worked with mills, export houses, and buying houses. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So with that, I complete my introduction, and I pass this on to Professor Raghuram to take this forward. Thank you.
Namaste, everybody. Welcome to the first ever virtual online mentoring session. My heartfelt thanks to all of you, especially the Nifty Care team for really idealizing such a kind of a program. This is really welcome during these times. Connecting the Nifty alumni with the budding grads and who are aiming to soar high after completing their strenuous education at NIFT. So it will be one good platform. So initially I will interact with Sanjay Shukla, so who happens to be senior most NIFT alumni and the team leader at Triberg. Ranjini had given a lot of introduction. Probably I requested her to introduce them first, and then at last, because I'm a homegrown person, I'm representing all the graduates. I'm going to ask questions that the graduates of NIFT have sent us to the mentors and Sanjay. So we'll start with Sanjay because we need to understand that how Nifty Care has come in as a group of senior NIFT alumni in the industry, looking forward to interact with students. And then slowly in the next phase, we will move to Sandeep and Gargi with the questions. And also they would be sharing their experience and expertise and answering the questions that the grads have come. So Sanjay, probably everybody is excited to know more about this initiative because of which we are here today.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Professor Raghuram, thanks for having us interact with NIF students. And your first question, absolutely, that's appropriate. The students certainly should know what's the reason that Nifty Care came about. Honestly, as senior alumni, and people from the industry, we've been in touch with each other, and we were thinking one day. We said that if in 2020 to support this batch and to put our shoulder behind them, because it's been an unprecedented year. In so many years of the industry, I have not seen a year like this, and God willing, we should not see another year like this. So we wanted to put our shoulder behind the students. We said that if we don't come together for the students in this year, then everything probably that we have done in the past or that we plan to do in the future would not hold as much value.
True.
So Nifty Care is a baby, a product out of the circumstances that we find ourselves in today. And essentially, there are three things that we plan to address. One is, of course, the concern of the alumni. How can we do better for the alma mater? And of course, for the industry. So these are three aspects for Nifty Care.
Well, that's really well thought of. We have been discussing this quite for some time because NIF alumni and the industry is the core of the fashion ecosystem in this country. And if everybody knows that the industry and alumni are inseparable because NIFT alumni is present everywhere in each of the industry. So it becomes kind of an all-inclusive responsibility of industry, alumni, and NIFT to get together and do something good, especially in these circumstances. So that moves the second question to you. It's really a tough time. It's very unprecedented. It's a lot of uncertainties that we are going through for the past, let's say, 6 months at least. Now, how did you all think of an initiative? Is it prima facie the job crunch, or there are many other factors that came into your mind to think of such an initiative for the grads of NIFT?
Professor Raghuram, essentially, the thought that the students, passing students at this point of time have, the thought that we as alumni have and industry have, primary focus is, of course, jobs. How do we create opportunities today when none exist? It's not an easy task. Let me put it out there. But certainly, I think if every one of us are united and every one of us, if we go with the thought that we are not coming together only to create jobs, we are coming together really to change lives, to touch lives of students, to see how can we think like them, how can we be one of them, and how can we essentially provide the support, because every student would have a different need, right?
Yes.
A unique need. And that need, how can we as industry and alumni address? Of course, it's a infant program, it's starting off, but the thought behind it is to change lives and to touch lives.
Fantastic, fabulous. I think that's where the ideology matches, and we as a team ensure that we will bring in a lot of change that we and try to uh, get the momentum rolling in such situations. But definitely, I would like you to speak about the team which is associated with you and the think tank and the guys who are putting in their hard work to uh, help their alma mater.
See, without the team, nothing is possible. Whether it's in our jobs or whether it's for this initiative. And we've been so lucky to have dedicated people come forth with a passion in their heart. If you, I think, if you don't mind, can I just show you a short screen share?
Yeah, sure, please go ahead.
So, can you see the screen?
Yes, just go on to the presentation mode so it becomes full screen.
Okay. It's better now?
Great, yeah.
Better now. So, all of us, so of course, initially there were a few of us who came together to ideate about the idea, to brainstorm and put it together. Um, when we started speaking to other colleagues from the industry, we didn't have to convince anybody. You know, the thought behind itself was so compelling that you can see the names on the screen. You can see my friends out there. You know, each one of them said that, yes, we want to associate, we want to do something. And today, all of us spend honestly hours on this initiative. We talk, we think, and we act. So I think just to show this, you know, and thanks a lot to each one of them for their support. Some
Yes.
we call them the angels. So these are the Nifty
Yeah.
Care angels, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm so lucky to be a part of them.
That's true. That's really nice. That's really good. So they are really angels, and because I see the tagline in your mail, the extended, we are your extended hand. That's what your people write, which is so true.
Yeah.
There should be a story. I personally, and also as an institute, we feel that the industry, the institute alumni and the industry connect is what that makes things very successful, and it should be a well thought of process. So we hope that in the coming weeks also the students uh, get to connect with various mentors and they try to get oriented. So the next thing is, since you have a team working and it has been a well thought of process, you guys are spending a lot of time connecting with each other and also with the other stakeholders of the ecosystem. So what do you plan? What are your plans, and how are you going to go about it? So it will be good if you could share that. What is that you guys are planning to do, so that
Okay.
graduates will have a kind of an understanding.
No, absolutely. So I think we've hit the ground running. We've reached out to as many people as possible. We are putting together things in four buckets if you really want to talk about that. The first one being mentorship, which is the first session today, where you know Sandeep and Gargi are going to talk about their experiences, how they've gone through their growth in the industry, and of course talk to the students, take their questions head on. So mentorship is the first one. The second would be, of course, to look at industry engagement for students, which could be in the form of management training, skill upgradation, and of course jobs. So we are pushing all corners. We are pushing each and everybody who is resourceful to come out with that. The third is also something very, very important. We've reached out to our industry friends about startup community. How do we take this to a different level and say that, because NIFT students are very enterprising, that's the culture that it's been always. And the startup culture has been very strong in NIFT, and especially for FD, the representation today, a lot of them want to go out and create their own labels or create their own ventures. So we're going to also put together a startup community here. That's going to be really key. And of course, we are going to look at our counseling sessions for students who need extra help, students who want to engage with us. The angels also want to form a community called parenting, where each one of us takes holds hands with 4 or 5 or 6, as many as we can, students from NIFT, and walk them through till the time that they settle. So
Yeah.
essentially, that's our goal. And I do want to, before we take it on to Sandeep and Gargi, I do want to compliment NIFT, because, from the day that we spoke to each other, Professor Raghuram, I spoke to Archana Gandhi, who's been very helpful and cooperative, and then Ranjini and Amit Anjani, all of us together, I can see that we are so well integrated. And the best part was that Dean ma'am and DG sir just did not take, I think, more than 10 minutes to decide that, yes, this is a great initiative and let's just go for it.
True.
So, yeah, so, how it has all come together in such a quick fashion, hats off to NIFT for that. And we're really thankful for that engagement and this opportunity.
It's always the feeling. The feeling is mutual because it's a good thought process with a good intent of reaching out to the grads in tough situations. That's to be highlighted. It's a tough situation for everybody. It's really I'm really appreciative of this entire team of Nifty Care that we have brought it, and I'm sure from your alma mater there will be a perfect support of rolling this kind of an interaction, the mentorship and the parenting program that you are envisaging every week. So it will be a part of the calendar, and let's hope that we continue to roll this every week. That's really nice, Sanjay, because it's always pleasure to hear this all from a person who's behind, who's working with a big team, and then envisaging things that are good for the grads. Really, it's good. So I think it's time that we move on to the alumni mentors. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank
so
you.
good to have Sandeep and Gargi with us. Sandeep from FD 2001 Delhi and Gargi FD 2014 from Shillong. So that's really great. And I'll go straight into the question. Before getting straight onto the question, I would request Sandeep and Gargi to just say a few words about your expertise and experiences, and in let's say 90 seconds each, and then quickly we will jump on to the questions from the grads.
Sure. Gargi, please, ladies first.
Thank you. So I have been working for the past 6 years, and I'm a through and through women's wear designer. And my experience has been mostly women's wear, high-end women's wear, and I've been associated with brands like Polo Ralph Lauren, Club Monaco, Michael Kors, and House of Holland in designer brands. So overall, I feel that if you are passionate about something, it translates into your work and it comes through. It doesn't matter like what brand you are working for, as long as you are dedicated to your work and sincere enough to see it through. That is it about me.
Great. So welcome aboard. Good, thanks. Yeah.
That was under 90 seconds, I guess. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Sandeep, and I have been in the industry for around 19 or 20 years now, 2001 FD. I have actually worked in multiple sections of the industry, starting from an export house to a buying house to working in a mill, which is in Bangladesh, a buying house in China. Basically, in the initial year, my idea was to understand about how the industry works in different parts of the countries, and how China it specializes, how Bangladesh specializes in its own strengths. And then later, of course, I got back here, and now currently with Arvind. And what I generally do right now is I head the denim division in terms of design. So the other thing is I have totally been into design from the beginning till the end. And the last thing that I want to share with everybody is even today, even after all these years of experience, I still work on making mood boards and doing stories and putting colors and trends all put together. Market research is in place, and only then we begin with our final collection, and we keep doing those collections. So whatever we've been taught in NIFT has been really, really handy in the industry throughout all these years. So yeah, so that's that's me.
Wow. So welcome to the virtual mentoring session. Thanks, Sandeep and Gargi, for taking out time. And that's a very important message to all these graduates who are listening today. What you learn, you will continue to practice. So that's really a good message to start off with. So let's get on to the question straight. So this question comes from Chandra Deep Mishra. He's a Master of Fashion Technology, 3rd semester student from NIFT Chennai. What is the fashion industries are really looking at from fresh graduates? What are the expectations? So it's a question more of industry expectations at this point in time. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, whoever comes into the workforce to work with us, and we are basically looking for people who are driven, who are, they need not be the brightest star in the room, but at the same time, they need to be sincere. They need to know their design process. Research skills should be on point. Then, of course, now we are transforming into a digital age, as you all see. So it's very, very important that whoever comes into the workforce is well proficient in all the softwares that you can think of. You should be good with rendering in Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. Then you should also be good with 3D softwares that we are using right now, because it sort of gives you an edge over the people like looking for jobs everywhere else, because you at this point of time have that time and resources to hone in that skill, and that would serve you well in the coming months.
Yeah. So probably, Sandeep, it should be something like, let's say, if there are a few students who want to be mentored by you. So with this question, how would you guide them? How would you help them to prep for meeting the industry expectations?
Yeah, sure. So I also wanted to add into what Gargi has mentioned. What for me is really required in the industry for any designer, even for myself, is to be multi-skilled. Right now we're looking at multiple skilled designers, who are either, of course, first thing is working on their collection. The second part is being digital, because there are lots of things which you have to learn in the industry about all the different digital platforms which are very focused. Some of them are focused towards, let's say, creating checks or 3D designs. The others are focused towards digital media, like even filmmaking and all
Animation.
those sorts. And then otherwise also other skills, like maybe even if a designer knows about costing and all, they can actually work into the product development scheme of things. So that's the idea. And I think those are the people who will make a mark in the industry really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really great. So continuing this, it's something very related. It comes from Ankit Prasad, another student from Bachelor of Fashion Technology, 7th semester in UP. So these are going to be the class of 2021 who are pursuing their course with us now. So they say the question is more about what sort of an attitude should I carry, the qualities and skills that will be required of the fresh grads. Part of it you have answered in the previous question, but more about the kind of personal qualities and skills or the attitude that I need to carry when I get myself launched into the professional system.
So for this, I think the biggest takeaway that we have seen in the recent times is you should be flexible and have a can-do attitude, because you can't be restricted by your skill set or your resources or whatever constraints you have. You have to prevail. This is a constant ongoing mission that you have to prevail. So come whatever may, you have to find answers, and we are creative individuals. We take pride in finding solutions. So you should be flexible. You should be, willing to find solutions to problems and have a can-do attitude, and remain positive in amidst anything. Sandeep would like to add something to that.
Yeah, again, positivity is the main ground of everything. We all have gone through all the issues like during the 2008 economic crisis and all, but we've all sailed through all those things. So positivity is something that really is the driving factor for your creativity. Your creativity is really required. And the other thing is, design is absolutely required in the industry all the time. Some people must be thinking of deviating from design to maybe think of merchandising or marketing, which sounds more like a very safe platform for them. So is design. If you believe in it and you carry on, please be around design. I will always encourage everybody, whoever believes in design and is a true designer will always remain a designer. So with that being said, I think first thing is also to be very receptive and learn and listen. There are times when you have to unlearn things and then relearn, and then you catch up with the industry again. Especially even for people who are experienced, I would say that sometimes each and every company is different. When you switch from one company to another one as well, and you have to relearn everything. You have to unlearn few things and relearn things. So yeah, so just be open to seeing and hearing and learning things. Yeah.
This program is very lovely because you guys are guessing. Probably, I think you guys have a guess like what the students would ask you, and you guys are really good mentors, and the students are going to love you, because the next question is touching upon this. Like for designers, which way to bend? Is it going to be design or merchandising, which you partly answered in your previous brief? So how is it going to be for designers, especially, being both of you from the design specialization, the design field, and Sandeep, you spent about 20 years straight, couple of decades in design. What would you advise? How should this go? Should there be more of designer like you put their foot down and then say, look, I've come from FD, so this is my forte. Or slightly I bend and go towards merchandising.
So I have had actually this conversation also while we were with Gargi, and I think we both have a little, in both the points where we have tried to touch. If I'll start, I will say, be the designer that you are supposed to be. And there are times I've heard some of my friends who moved to another field, and then later they actually look back at us and then they come back and saying, yeah, I wish I was still a designer, because you guys have really come up well to that level. As Nidhiraj and all the likes, people from the, from my batches, they're all creative directors and all big companies right now. So I think for me, being a designer always very purely has been the success point for me. I will still say that as of today, I may not have idea about costing or about the merchandising, not really much, because I've not set my foot there. But in terms of design, I can deal with anything, because I specialize there, and that's my forte. So that's my side, but I think Gargi has a really interesting side to it. So let's hear from him.
Okay.
Well, I think that each and every individual and designer is different. And I also believe in taking note and inventory of where you are going in life, how you are progressing forward, because ultimately the goal is to keep moving forward. So for some people, they are happy with intangible results, because for some people appreciation matters a lot, and designers thrive on appreciation. And I cannot stress this point enough, that people sometimes fail to acknowledge designers, that oh my god, brilliant job and brilliant work. But I think that that is something that designers always are looking forward to, and you give it to them constantly and they thrive. So it's like different people gauge their success differently. So if you are somebody who wants to take notes and wants to gauge how much you have climbed so far, and how do you like take note of how it's simply how do you test yourself, how do you gauge yourself on a certain parameter. So for some people it's applause, for some people it's encouragement, for some people it's cold hard numbers. And if you are that person who believes in numbers and you are good at it, so I do not think that leaning toward merchandising is a bad option, because eventually what it will do for you is you will scale up in a way where you will be controlling businesses, you would be managing businesses, you would be promoting them. So of course that is a different way to go. But that being said, designers, like true designers, as Sandeep said, would always want to come back, would always yearn for that creative flair in their life, and that is super important as well. But another viewpoint that I have regarding this matter is, so we see a lot of big corporates, fashion houses being controlled by IIM people, IIT people and all that jazz. And sometimes of course those guys are brilliant at what they do and they have studied whatever, and that is giving them the position, but they fail to understand how a design mind works and how a designer functions. And somehow some designers take it very personally, ki aisa kaise hota hai. So if you are that person who would like to lead future designers, then why not go into something? If numbers are your forte, then why not go into merchandising as well?
I'll add a bit more. Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah. So now I'll talk about the design side. Designers, creative people, it is all about emotional quotient, and emotional quotient is something that definitely can never be replaced by anything called AI, because there are other functions which are actually getting replaced with artificial intelligence, automation, and all this. But design is something which is totally about emotional quotient. So for people, for everybody who's listening right now, in terms of design, believe in it and stay around.
Of course, these are beautiful yardsticks that you have given. I think it's very critical. See, it's very easy for both of you to understand because of the experience that and the expertise that you've gained over a period of time. A very quick, opinion on this. In fact, I would request Sanjay also to pitch in this. that being a student who's yet to get on board to the industry practices and to look at, but through a graduation project or an internship, how would I decide on whether I should, as a designer, should I be on the design side or the merchandising side? Because it's a good yardstick that you've given, that if you're taking notes and you're going to work on numbers, then directly go on to the merchandising side, or if your design is not about emotional quotient, you want to connect with it, then stay a designer. So these are the two things that I've got. But what would be a quick advice as a mentor, so that you would tell these kids that how to pick their path?
Well, if you just want to see, why not take an internship in both and see what works for you? Like, we are from a practical field, we learn by doing. So why not just take a quick internship, 2 months each, and see which one is like better suited to your palette? It's as easy as that. You need not think so much and analyze each and every move that you make. It's okay. You would learn by error, and that is an okay process to follow. So why not just take internships as many as possible, because this is the time where even if you falter and you do not get a job, that is not a big issue, because nobody would be questioning you कि अच्छा 2020 में pass out होके job क्यों नहीं है तुम्हारे पास. Nobody is going to ask. This is the time to take up internships, find out what your niche is, find out what makes you happy, find out what your mojo is.
Okay.
Because then you have the entire life to finally decide and write upon. So in the beginning only, you should actually explore and see it for yourself. There are many times when, people are influenced by what their friends are going towards. So if a friend is going towards an export house, the other two will also follow without knowing the industry. So I think it's always better to have, everybody should have their own individual opinion, because everybody has their own way of thinking. So and of course, definitely try internships, try doing projects and understand the industry and then get into it. Because I have some examples where some people have been in one industry, but then they want to move to the other industry for many years. And it becomes very difficult later, because now they have worked in that industry, that first industry, for so many years. Now they cannot restart, and so it becomes very difficult. It's always better to do the experimentation in the initial time only.
And if I can add, Professor Raghuram, today
please.
we are in 2020. When I passed out in 1992 from AMM, right, which was merchandising and marketing. So my first job had nothing to do with merchandising and marketing. I was hired as an assistant fabric manager. So I was hired to go and start checking fabric, putting those POs out there, making swatches, sending them out to customers, doing the quality of whatever I had placed. And I took it on because I said, okay, I'm getting an opportunity, let me go. So I just tried to do something good at what was given to me. And I think to the students who are listening at this point of time, things have not changed much since 1992 to today. You take what comes to you and make the most of it.
That's really great. So Sanjay, again, just one more minute before I go to the other two mentors, because this question is connected. Somebody from a student like Nilaga from Delhi, he says, like, if internship and GP are very, very crucial, we know that, because we are into a more of a hands-on kind of a program at NIFT. Now, in this situation, what is your take on companies entertaining internships and graduation projects? And how would mentors be very instrumental in helping, guiding these students towards the right internship or a GP? So I'll start with you and then move to Gargi and Sandeep on the same question.
So I think today we have to take a broader look. We have to take a look at the fact that the industry is going in for a reset. The way we were working before COVID, which was 6 months or 5 months back, and the way we are working today are entirely, the way of working is totally different. And as a result of that, what has happened is that we've had to hit the ground running. We've had to create skills for our own selves, which did not exist earlier. And the fact remains, now coming back to your question about how would mentors help the students in terms of either internships or job placements, etc. So the first step is what we've started today is mentoring. Second is to answer their specific questions, we would be available, Professor Raghuram. We've got some IDs, we've got a Telegram group where we can have a regular interaction with students. And the third thing is to always ensure that the students believe in themselves, believe in the course that they've done, believe in the fact that they want to go in and grab the first opportunity that comes to them. And as Gargi said, do not overanalyze, do not overthink, do not, go for it right now, because we are in the throes of a crisis. So for students, really grab the opportunities and make the most of it. That's what I would like to say. And mentors are going to stand with you.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, Gargi, what's your take on how they should go about it?
Well, see, for internships, jobs, everything, portfolio is very important. And it is high time now that you digitize each and every part of your portfolio, make it an outstanding presentation, and it should be easily accessible. So, because you're basically remotely sending your work and letting it speak for you. You are not there in person to justify your work, right? Your work should speak for itself. So I think that now is the time to start working on your portfolios, because I cannot sit here and paint a rosy picture that सबको GP मिलेगा या फिर सबके लिए internship है, सबके लिए job है. That is not happening. So why not take the time that you have on your hands right now and upgrade yourself, put your work out there, like explore. And also I would also take this time to say that you might be an FD student, but you can be brilliant at illustration. You can be brilliant at set design. So this is not the time to be like, nahi, main to. So okay, let me quote a personal experience. So I'm a women's wear designer. I've always been a women's wear designer. I have gotten opportunities for kids wear and men's wear, but I could not bring myself to do it. Now is the time that sometimes I sit back and think that I should have done that stint so that it could have added to my portfolio. And if in case something happens, I'm multi-skilled, I'm multi-dimensional, I'm not in just one bracket. So, branch out.
That's me.
Okay.
When I was finishing my college, I was working totally on menswear, and I was a very men's and casual wear kind of person. 2001. The only brand that I had that time, I think I could apply, was for Weekender. There was no other brand, no UCB, no Peter England, nothing, no any other brand. I ended up with a women's wear exports company, where the first year I slogged because I never focused in my, it was not my passion, but I did it because I wanted to explore how it is. The first year was crazy. I couldn't even figure what was the front or the back of a dress. Me being a guy coming from a menswear kind of this thing. But then what happened is later, after the second year, when I actually started grabbing those things, it actually got me into a different thought process of understanding women's wear. Now I know women's wear really well. My third job was also again in women's wear when I was in China. It was purely women's wear, and I was doing dresses and blouses and all. Okay. The second job was in denims. And then my fourth job was again in denims. So things like that, So it actually gave me an entire holistic picture of the industry, where I could relate from all the categories, all the possible categories. And that's where I stage myself in. On the other hand, I mean, a professional like Gargi, who's specializing in one field as a women's wear designer, can do far, far much better than I can in women's wear designer. So it's basically, again, choices. It's basically, again, your focus, how you want to shape yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So that's
in short. I mean, either you can be a Tendulkar or you can be a Dhoni. Either you be a captain or you be a player, the world's best batsman player. Like that. So it's basically a choice again. And one more thing, I think we were talking about being open to all ideas. There are many new unstructured opportunities that is coming up these days in the industry. You know, things like fashion designers, fashion design educated students who have been placed in places like IBM and doing UI UX, but they're actually applying their fashion design skills into that field. Why? Because there are lots of fashion design oriented customers of IBM who want those their platforms to be designed through a fashion designer's perspective. So there are opportunities like that. There are so many social media. There are lots of YouTube videos or channels that is happening, which is totally about fashion, and it's growing really well. You know, so see opportunities and be open to those things. Don't be just because you heard it from your senior that he or she is doing well in a mill or in an export house. I also want to become like that. See all those possibilities, and you'll actually enjoy those possibilities.
That's fantastic. So again, it's a kind of a question about specializing in niche fields. So when students are specializing in a particular field, like women's wear or men's wear or any, so for instance, I got a question from Kudrat Kashyap, who's a Master of Design student from Bangalore. She's a specialist in social design, but I think the kid finds it tough to identify or shortlist companies which are into this kind of work culture or work frame of specialization. So her question is very direct, that how mentors like you, I mean, obviously, because we're talking about, though we have a Tendulkar, there are many, Tendulkar was in the making, and he needed an architect who can tell him that how best he can become. So they see you like the Tendulkar's coach for them to become Tendulkar. So the kid's question is direct. He says that if I'm specializing in this, so how are the mentors going to be very instrumental in helping me identify companies? Because I mean, the situation is genuine. You need not be knowing about the entire domain and who does what. That's where the mentor's experience and expertise come into play. So how could you help? Mentors could help kids in this.
Kardi, or should I?
Okay. I
think for a change, Sandeep should go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So two things. One is I have actually even done projects for WHO, World Health Organization. I think that is one of the connecting area where this question is coming from in terms of social design. So where it is about demographics and people and welfare and all those things. So you can actually approach to places like WHO or the UNICEF scheme of things, or there are many NGOs that are into this practice. And NGOs does not mean that you will have to work in voluntary or for free or something like that and contribute. You are also going to be paid into that into that scheme of things for your own skills. If you are not volunteering, you can always come as a professional offering. So there are opportunities like that. So yeah, so just to answer in a very short way, this is what I wanted to tell, that I've actually done myself. I've done a project with WHO. So it's not just limited to just being in the garment industry, or just because we are from NIFT means that we'll only revolve around the fashion industry only. I've also done projects with brands like Yamaha. So Yamaha, I've done apparels, but I've done for Yamaha. So, and in fact, I'll tell you another thing. These it's an underlying thing, but non-garment industries actually, they pay even better. So just be open about that. Number two is basically I think the question also mentions about what was the question about? I think there was something
better to work in a company or then go solo.
Yeah. And the UI UX designer and all that. So okay, so first of all, don't take it as a bigger picture. If you are into social design and you have a purpose, look at that purpose, see the vision. And if that vision requires you to do illustrations or UI UX or anything, but that is going to lead you to your goal, to achieve your results, take all those routes. Because right now it is not about choosing how you want to do it. It's not about your choice that I'm only going to hand illustrate and then get into this collection. You have to finally make your ends meet, and you have to finally achieve your results. So it has to be from any way. Right now I'm learning to do filmmaking, video editing and all that. because I need to add that into my profile. So I think everybody should be open about all those things and not feel limited that I have not done this, so I'll not be able to. There are so many online courses that you can actually learn now. So focus, main thing is just focus on the vision, that if you are looking at a purpose that you want to achieve something as a designer, you have to uncover all your stones. I mean, that's what even our bigger labels and big designers, they also work on. They go to the crafts and clusters into the villages and everywhere in this scorching heat, and then they get the weaving done, they get all the research, and then they come back and then they put that collection. Then only it makes a difference, right? If you just sit at home and just think that, okay, I feel like making a label, but then I don't feel like going out, then it's a no-show, right? So be open to all the, and just take all of these things, like if you in the same question she's mentioned about UI, UX and all these, take them as tools, as your tools, and these are going to be helpful for you.
Exactly.
Not as a hurdle. Yeah.
So you mean to say we continue freelancing because we are in the
Yes.
transition stage where industry is trying to realign themselves, reinvent themselves. So we should be trying to gain as much as experience possible.
Yes,
Yeah,
and definitely look out for opportunities. Keep looking out for opportunities, because sometimes it just happens that there are so many times when I myself just get calls saying that I'm looking for some designer who, I want to do a logo. But then if I am not in touch with anybody, then I will not be able to recommend somebody. But if I know there are some people in mind, I can instantly say, okay, I'll write to that person and say, okay, are you interested in doing this thing? And then I just connect it. So just be visible. Everybody has to be visible. Gargi wants to say something.
And on top of everything, you need to see yourself as a business too. Like, you have invested so much money into your education. Now is the time to take returns out of it. The times might be unfavorable, but it is okay. You need to apply your brains, learn new skills, upskill yourself, whatever it takes to get return on your investment. You can't sit around and think कि अच्छा ये तो मेरे मतलब का अभी नहीं हो रहा है, maybe if I wait it out I'll get a better opportunity. Just take whatever opportunity you are getting and run with it. You'll always get time to circle back to your interest. You can always come back to whatever your heart desires, but also try to think of yourself as a business कि अच्छा अब मेरा पैसा यहाँ पे फंसा हुआ है, मुझे कैसे निकालना है.
Professor, this is so interesting, because when Gagi was in tribal with me, and I wanted to even make a small change to her portfolio or schedule, she would come and fight with me. So good to hear.
You grow and learn, right? You grow and learn.
So that's I mean, it's really nice. So we are into the last 10 to 12 minutes. So we can take a couple of questions and then sum it up. To look like, I mean, it's been, I think everywhere people keep on, especially this I want to hear from Sanjay ji, because you connect with people quite frequently, being in cyber. There's always a feeler, but the students think that it is going to be very, looking at the series of questions, it's very tight. Everybody knows the situation is tight, but like Sandeep said, the situation always, we emerge out of these situations and we start growing. It's not that we are going to be stagnant, or let's say we've gone to the rock bottom and we're not going to come up. So how do you see, because students are waiting in the wings for getting into graduation projects, some of them for internships, and the class of 2020 who are sitting and listening here, are already we are facilitating them to online placements. How do you see, what are the opportunities probably in the next coming quarter or something like that?
So to take a quote from one of the NIFT students, one of the youngest, who is there as an angel on Nifty Care, Padma, he's I think from 2017 batch, maybe you guys know him. He created something called, this is just a pause, it's not a full stop.
Yeah.
So, I think it's very important to know that we are in an evolving dynamic situation. The sky is not going to fall. It's going to still be there, tomorrow, day after. The fact is that, as all of us have said, energize, re-energize, upskill. Try to upskill, try and, add on few more layers to your skill set at this point. Gargi rightly said, take what comes to you, hit the ground running and move ahead. Let's say you don't even get an opportunity at this point of time. Try and build a parallel space. There are so many, in fact, on the Telegram group of Nifty Care, Padma and others, they post so many of opportunities, Professor Raghuram, which are there on the global scene. Because today there are no geographies, right? Somebody sitting in Madrid can hire somebody sitting in Shillong and assign some work to them, and that work can be done online and transmitted.
True.
So
Very true.
so you don't have to really go to an office every day, but you have to search out those opportunities via internet, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, wherever. You have to. So the students really have to find those opportunities that are there. Some of them maybe as per your line of thought or education, and some of them may challenge you on that. But the fact is, do something, keep moving, be a rolling stone, and just move on from there. That's my bit to it.
Fantastic. So we can take a couple of questions which are going to be on the trends of technology. A student has highlighted that since things are moving towards increased automation, I would rather call it as autonomous systems or autonomy. How is it going to let's say have an impact on the emerging graduates from the design perspective, purely from the design perspective? Or how do you think that they should be prepared for this kind of autonomous systems and the use of technology?
One of the biggest advantages you have as a designer is no amount of artificial intelligence can do or can think like you do at this particular point of time, and as far as we know. So creativity and design have this thing that you can automate machines, you can automate processes, you can automate जो काम करने वाला है, that can be automated, but that thinking process, that research, that design thinking cannot be automated. So as far as purely design people, you are still safe from AI.
Yeah.
Nothing can beat that human touch, that human EQ that goes into design.
Okay. Your each stroke that you make on a sketch can actually, depict a story on itself. So it's as that important that as it is, what we have learned in our elements of design, those basics, those dots to circles to lines to shapes and everything, those will always remain in your entire life as a designer. And that is something which is irreplaceable. And that is something that is going to make your own branding and your own identity.
Correct. But not only in terms of artificial intelligence, it's also going to be intelligence augmentation based on which these AI systems are going to evolve. So that intelligent augmentation quotient has to be taken care of brilliant designers like you and those who are emerging, who continue to emerge from left. So I think this kind of a mentorship program where it looks where you people can sensitize them more about the augmentation stages. I think that's what these grads are looking out for you, because the next question is also very interesting, but it is on animation. They say domestic animation. Does domestic animation have a future? Because look, NIFT grads are talking about the field of animation now, and especially the kid is from fashion communication. Okay, I thought there would be some question on you, and now it's gone one step ahead. Perfect. And then says, "Do I have a future in animation, boss?"
Yes, definitely. So perfect question. Right now, what is domestic? We are at our homes, and there's no limitation to reach out to the world right now. I mean, I am communicating with anybody from any part of the world. If you are going to display your work and if you're going to platform your work online, the entire online community is going to find you things even when you're sleeping. When you're asleep, your work is being reviewed by some people from another part of the world. So do not limit yourself in terms of, okay, here's the thing. I think what he's maybe coming from is, am I going to be picked up by a production company and I have only limitation to move till certain part of India, and I think it'll be a limitation to move out of the country and be anywhere else. I think that boundary is all gone. People are working full time from all over the world, like even, okay, very easy examples. You have Facebook and Googles and all those people are all over the world, and they're working full time. And for an office which is maybe stationed in the US or something is in the Europe, they're all full time people working. So do not limit yourself with only finding production people or only that little industry. I'm not saying little as an industry, but I'm saying little segment of an industry, like one bubble. Be open to the entire scheme of things of presentation. Now, another thing is presentation design is coming up really, like it's high in demand because everybody wants to, even in my company, we all want to make our presentations digital. So earlier we used to showcase our collection physically, but now it is moving towards being digital. So it's all going to be online. So for people like who are from animation, fashion communication, they should actually feel sky is the limit, because digital is the platform now.
Yeah, so I'm also looking at the chat that is going on. We have an augmentation to this point from one of your angels from Nifty Care, Minister World. Happens to be a good friend of ours. He says, on domestic animation, PM has openly requested for games to be developed based on the Indian mythology.
In fact, yeah.
World is looking at an Indian superhero to replace a Superman, Batman, He-Man, Hitman, etc. So the canvas is vast and varied and absolutely blank for you. So I think the kid from Kannur FC is hearing to this. That's a beautiful piece of information. We have a blank canvas, and then you have all the choice of painting it with whatever color you want to. Thanks, Manish.
And there are many companies who are actually contributing into clips of big movies as well, and there are many Indian companies who are animation companies who are providing, a section of the movie. It's all been outsourced from all over the world. So it's nothing like you are not in Pixar, so your life is doomed. You are a part of Pixar, but maybe an Indian company who's really talented is working on a certain theme of that movie or that game. Gaming is another industry. Like, don't judge me. I play PUBG, but I play PUBG because there are lots of things that we can learn. The other thing that we need to really learn is the way PUBG is selling costumes totally, which is virtual. Okay, the garments are not made ever, but people are buying those costumes like crazy, and they're paying like 2,000 rupees for one upgrade. And it's actually very, very nicely done. It's a 3D rendering of something like a Clo 3D kind of a rendering. And that industry is growing. Like, Tencent as a company and Levi's, they've kind of collaborated, and they're selling online virtual clothing where no garment is made. It's only for people who have their own avatars online. They can dress them up, and then they can, have an online virtual personality of their own.
Yeah.
So the world is moving there, and I think we should keep our eyes and ears open on that.
Great.
So there is one live question also, Professor. There are a couple of live questions.
Yes, I'm seeing that.
First is from Diksha Mariwala.
Correct.
She wants to know.
I think that portion our mentors have answered. That what is the process of job selection? And Gargi said you should have a strong digital portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why the one important from the question from Jalak Singh is there a way to sign up for the mentorship for which Kishan has sent a link? Kishan has sent a link, but though Sanjay, you were mentioning about the Telegram and also the email IDs of the mentors. I want Sandeep and Gargi to say that how these kids should approach you, or let's say, or how you would select. Let me rephrase this question. How would you select the kids to be your mentees or to take them under your wings? What is that they should have? Yeah.
I think whoever is interested, shoot us an email first, and then we exchange numbers, chat a bit, and see how it goes. Because I think that is the best way to connect with somebody. I can't be, it can't be so disconnected. People you are mentoring, you need to constantly monitor them. What is happening? What are you feeling? How does this make you feel? So that is like a constant back and forth. And I think phone is the easiest way to do so. So send us an email and let us get in touch.
For me,
Yeah, please
Sorry,
go ahead,
maybe
please go ahead.
also join the Telegram group for live interaction. Because I think that's so easy nowadays. Just join
Right.
the Telegram group. I think Kishan has sent the link you're saying, Professor.
Kishan has sent the link and also he's given the mail ID. The
Okay.
niftweekare@gmail.com is what he's put in the chat. And Manish
Manish
says it is
Tribhuvan is
never the coach.
also.
Yes, he says it is never the coach selecting the coaches. It is always the player who hires his or her coach. So let them find the desired coach. Very true. But there is also, in a traditional way, the guru also goes looking for the sishyas. So it happens both the ways. So my question is that I'm too traditional probably.
It's
The
a
guru also looks for an ideal sishya because people should have that wavelength. As Gandhi said, this is an evolving process. It's not a one-time process.
yes.
So we should understand each other. There should be a good understanding, matching of wavelength, and a good chemistry, if you call it in the Bollywood way, that
Yes.
should exist between the mentor for
Definitely,
sailing
definitely.
smooth.
In fact, Professor, the current batch of 2020, after 2 years, and they would be part of Nifty Care, they would be mentors for the 23 batch, So
I'm
I
sure
think
Sanjay, you
that's
will
the way
have.
we perceive this Nifty Care program to proceed and to be a self-sustaining one. Because if they derive benefits from experience of Sandeep, Gargi, and many others who have volunteered, there are about 50, 60 people who have volunteered as mentors. We shared that list with you. So, there are huge number, and it can be a growing program. It can be so self-sustaining.
Correct. And Sanjay, I'm sure you have a bandwagon of Niftyans working with you every year. So I don't think you'll have a dearth for bringing mentors on board to
Yeah,
share their experience with the kids. So I
absolutely.
think it was really great pleasure interacting with all of you. I now leave it to Ranjini to take this, conclude the proceedings.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful interaction. I was silently listening, and I hope the students have also, really understood what these mean to them. And we have more such interactions, and I'm looking forward for this every week. So it is with great pleasure that I propose the vote of thanks for this session. Foremost, I would thank Nifty Care team for all these wonderful programs and initiatives that you have started. Along with them, all the angels I would like to thank.
Wow, there they are.
There they are. There they are. Thank you for being there for us, being there for the alma mater, and thank you for that, Nifty Care team.
Wow.
And I really look forward for your continued support and interactions. I thank Ms. Gargi and Ms. Sandeep for taking time on a weekend and all those previous interactions that we had. Really thankful for that, and thank you for speaking to the students with such practical and logical approach that they should have in these times. I really appreciate your motivating words for them and your openness to guide them even on one-on-one personal ways. I hope the students are listening, and I hope they will take maximum benefits out of it, and NIFT will benefit it at a larger space, and the industry is going to benefit this, that we have mentored them in the right way. Thank you so much for that. I thank the leadership at NIFT, including the respectful DG sir, Shri Shantamanu, our respectful Dean ma'am, Professor Dr. Vandana Narang ma'am, Professor Dr. Raghuram sir, Head Industry, the leadership at NIFT. Thank you so much for encouraging this initiative. Thank you for supporting us in all our initiatives. And one word of thanks to Mr. Birendra, who is our webmaster at HO, for making this possible. Even on a weekend, he has been able to make this happen virtually and also on the YouTube. Of course, the students who missed this can see it on the YouTube channel anytime and can also promote this with who have missed for the next week. So I would like to also say that the next week on 5th of September, the Saturday, coming Saturday, the same time, we are going to have the next interaction number 2. So this time it's going to be the management, area of management, and we have Ms. Nidhi Dua, who is the sourcing head MNS India and Sri Lanka, and Mr. Ashish Medireta, who's the president for SSIPL. Both are our very senior alumni from FMS Fashion Management course, and they will be interacting with you the next week. So I invite you to that session also as a last word. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thanks, and my sincere, my wholehearted thanks to Sanjay for coming here today, introducing all the angels, and creating this Nifty Care and Nifty Association. And I pray, and it's my best wishes that we should continue doing this. And I'm looking forward to my team of Industry and Alumni Affairs to take this forward along with the Nifty Care team. So God bless all. Stay blessed, stay safe.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thanks, Ranjini. Thank you so much, Amit. And I think we all stand committed to make this a very different mentoring and one of the best that we have in India. So thanks so much for everyone's support, and let's get this done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear from the students as well, so it'll be great.
Yeah.